They call him Godzilla, and he comes from the river.
TriStar's Godzilla ended up being a disappointment for all involved and left a bad taste in Toho's mouth. No amount of Listerine was going to clean up Godzilla's tarnished reputation. He was no longer the king of the monsters. Instead, Godzilla was just a mere animal who died by regular military missiles.
No. Toho originally intended to put their Godzilla on an extended hiatus, hoping that the American Godzilla would receive follow-up films that would breathe new life, into the series. However, with those plans scrapped and fan demand for a new, authentic Godzilla that utilized summation, Toho knew what they had to do.
They had to prematurely bring Godzilla back and remind the world why Godzilla was the king of the monsters!
1987!
This started the next chapter in the Godzilla series, known as the Millennium era.
The period I was born.
The year where... Wait, what? No, you were born a bit late. You're only 15.
2004.
He's only 15.
Godzilla 2000, Millennium, 1999. Takeo Akawara was back in the director's chair to helm this soft reboot of the Godzilla series. Much like Godzilla 1984, this film ignored all previous entries except for the 1954 original.
Why?
Well, they just wanted to keep rebooting the original, and they don't want to convoluted mythology,
That word, use the word that I don't understand.
What, convoluted?
Yeah.
In this installment, Godzilla is a literal force of nature, making frequent appearances in Japan and causing as much chaos as possible.
The central human characters are basically storm chasers. However, instead of chasing storms, they chase Godzilla, mapping out his routes in the hope of predicting where he will strike next. Godzilla got a redesign for this new era, a look I like to call the spiky version. This one has a very pointy tail fins.
Personally, I love this design. I think it's my favorite looking Godzilla. I just think he looks like a fucking lizard. He's also more mobile than the Heisei era version, which allows him to be more physical against new kaiju Orga, an alien abomination with the intention of taking over the Earth by using Godzilla's DNA.
Sounds like something Pink in the Brain would come up with.
Yeah, well, it's something like that. It's something about absorbing Godzilla, but it's
absorbing Godzilla?
It's just an excuse for them to fight at the end.
I think you made this up. I don't believe you.
You never believe me.
And you never believe him. And you never believe him. That's the problem.
Because he's always making up. Remember the croc thing? This film basically plays into the fear of the new millennium, when many people thought the world was going to end when the computer dates changed from 99 to 00. Remember that?
Oh, I remember that.
Yes, well, if you don't, here's a little snippet from the National Geographic.
By the end of the 90s, many of us were happy slaves to our computers. But our new masters had a trick they'd forgotten to tell us about.
The basic idea on Y2K was that for convenience, all these computer programs, when it came to do dates, you only needed 2 numbers. Why use 4 numbers when you only need 2? And then they recognized, what date is a computer going to think it is when we get to 2000?
One simple date change for man. One major screw-up for computer.
Godzilla 2000 did exactly what it was supposed to do when it was released. It made people care about Godzilla again and reminded audiences why they watched these films. Fun plots with deeper themes, men in suits beating the crap out of each other, miniature sets being destroyed, and Godzilla being Japan's savior and destroyer.
Wait, Destroyer is in this? Oh my gosh!
No, he means like destroyer, like the destroyer of worlds. While this is considered a reboot of the series, I personally like to see it as a continuation of the Heisei era. At the end of Godzilla vs. Destroyer, Godzilla's son is resurrected and is teased as the new Godzilla. And since this film starts with a Godzilla that's already been around, I like to think that this is that Godzilla.
Did you know there might be a Luigi's Mansion movie coming very soon with Charlie Day?
Godzilla vs. Megaguirus 2000.
Oh, I love this movie.
Who are you? Godzilla was back in another soft reboot.
Yeah, reboot.
It's not that funny.
What's funny to me?
That's right, this new film did not carry on from Godzilla 2000, despite using the same suit, but instead established a new continuity, only making reference to the 1954 original. This one actually features scenes from the original Godzilla, reimagined with the new suit. It's even got like a filter on it to give it like an old
Isn't this
film
the suit
vibe.
you want to buy yourself?
I'm not gonna buy it, but it's probably one of my favorite Godzilla
I saw it
suits.
on your list of things to buy.
Why are you looking at my list?
This time around, Godzilla is given a motive for his continuous attacks on Japan. He's addicted to nuclear energy, coming ashore to destroy every nuclear power plant he comes across. He's a bit like the Decepticons, with their addiction to Energon.
This stuff's the greatest! Those were the good old days back on Cybertron. Didn't have to sneak around in these ugly-ass disguises.
As a result, Japan stops producing nuclear energy and later the experimental plasma energy in the hope of deterring Godzilla from attacking Japan. Personally, I like the fact Godzilla has a reason for his attacks, gives it some context.
Despite this, Japan hopes to still eradicate Godzilla for good, leading to the development of a weapon that will suck Godzilla into a black hole. What? A trial run proves successful, however, it accidentally brings in a creature from another dimension, Megagoras, a flying bug that leads to some gruesome horror movie style deaths.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch this.
Fans generally don't like this movie, partly because of the janky CGI, which looks like an uncompressed PS1 FMV cutscene. However, once again, I would have to disagree with the general consensus. I think this is a good one. It has a protagonist with an actual arc, it has a satisfying final kaiju battle, and the anti-nuclear weapon message is front and center. It could be tighter, the CGI could be better, and yes, the plot is ridiculous, but this is Godzilla we're talking about. It's a film series about a giant mutant dinosaur. Cut it some slack. You want realism? Go watch Marriage Story.
Every day I wake up and I hope you're dead. Dead like if I can guarantee Henry would be okay. I'd hope you get an illness and then get hit by a car and die.
This video is sponsored by Netflix.
Godzilla, Mothra, and... Wait, you forgot to do the rating.
Oh yeah, oops. Yeah, hang on a second. Marcus Beer.
Did you know that there's like 70,000 kilograms in a sugar cube?
Also, it was directed by Masaki Tezuka.
Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah! Giant Monsters All-Out Attack 2001.
Another Godzilla Millennium film, another soft reboot. Stop it! Yep, this time the film ignores all the previous continuity except for the 1954 original and, surprisingly, the 1998 American Godzilla.
What?
There's a moment when two soldiers are in a boardroom discussing the attack in New York City. They say that the Americans called the monster Godzilla, but the experts in Japan have their doubts.
Godzilla is back with a new pupil-less design, like the Ninja Turtles from 2003. He is possessed by the souls of those killed during the Pacific War, lashing out at Japan for their inability to recognize their past crimes. This is a heartless, non-sympathetic Godzilla who has zero patience for humanity's actions, a bit like Dexter Morrington on a bad day.
Well, it is a bit like me when I'm traveling on the London Underground and there's people standing on the wrong side of the escalators. Stand to the right if you're not in a hurry, but I need to get my train, so get out of my way! In order to stop him, humanity must unite Earth's protectors, which includes Mothra, King Ghidorah, who is now a hero rather than a villain, you'll be happy to know.
Yes.
And Baragon.
I remember Baragon. I used to go to school with someone that name.
Director Shizuke Kaneko originally wanted Anguirus and Varan instead of Ghidorah and Mothra, but Toho wanted him to use more bankable monsters. To compensate for this, he made Ghidorah and Mothra weaker, so that Godzilla would remain the most dominant threat.
No, you can't make Ghidorah weak.
Most fans absolutely love this one, appreciating this new interpretation of Godzilla and how it challenges established expectations of the series. Personally, I'm not as much of a fan. I'm not too keen on Godzilla and King Ghidorah's new designs, and I do think the final battle just goes on and on and on. It's a bit like that opening shot of the spaceship in Spaceballs. Remember that?
Doesn't matter, I still appreciate the film's boldness and the final shot of Godzilla's heart still beating on the ocean floor. It's one of those, oh my god, what moments, you know? Would you ever feel that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I wasn't as keen as you were on this one, but you know what? We're feeling generous, so we're gonna give it a...
I'd rather have diarrhea.
Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, 2002. Did you say versus? Masaki Tezuka, director of Versus Megasaurus, was back at the helm for another soft reboot. Once again, it ignores all the previous continuity except for 3 films. Godzilla, 1954, Mothra, 1961, and oddly, War of the Gargantuars, 1966. So now Toho were just randomly picking out which films they wanted canon, but you know what? I appreciate...
As in canon, not in as a canon.
Not as in a canon, but I appreciate the ballsiness.
Other guy, stop laughing. Following the successful revival of Mothra and King Ghidorah in the previous films, Toho decided to bring back Mechagodzilla, complete with a slick new design that made all fangirls scream with excitement.
He's an angel.
The reintroduction of Mechagodzilla allows the film to explore the value of life, as it features a protagonist who feels absolutely worthless and just wants to die. A bit like me, in my everyday existence.
Whoa, Dexter, what? You never,
Sorry, did I just say that? I didn't mean to say that.
You never expressed
No,
that.
I love my life. Life's great. However, thanks to a grieving young girl and her plant, she's able to find some self-worth and a reason to live again.
A plant? Wait. Is Bionate in this one?
A Biolant? No.
Biolant?
No.
The theme is further explored in the character of Mechagodzilla, this time constructed using the corpse of the original Godzilla from 1954. It's believed that Mechagodzilla is purely artificial and lifeless, operated by human hands, a bit like the floating hands in Smash Bros. The Master Hand and the Crazy Hand.
At all. What are you talking about?
What? However, Godzilla's roar causes something in Mechagodzilla's system to go haywire, resulting in him having a life of his own. Not so lifeless after all, huh?
Anyway, I'm a fan of this entry for a number of reasons. I think it has a good protagonist. The pacing is super tight, running at a lean 88 minutes. The special effects are terrific. The final kaiju fight is one of the best in the series. The tone is perfectly consistent throughout, with just enough silliness and cheese to keep me satisfied.
Oh, I love a slice of cheese. What kind of cheese is it in the movie? Is it cheddar cheese? Is it Wensleydale?
If you ask me what I want from a Godzilla film, this would be it.
Go on, help yourself to a chocolate finger.
Godzilla Tokyo SOS 2003. What does the SOS stand for? Search Operation Seaweed.
Masaki Tezuka was back in the director's chair for the first sequel in the Millennium era. That's right, it's on the sequel. It actually connects to the last one.
Oh.
Set after the events of Against Mechagodzilla, the film saw the return of Mothra and her twin Theres, as they plead with humanity to return the corpse of the original Godzilla to the sea. If they don't, Mothra will declare war on the human race.
Whoa. The nod to Mothra in 1961 was deliberate in the previous film, in order to establish her appearance here. The film even features Harushi Kazumi playing his character from the original film, now with a sleek white hair and a love for nachos. Ho ho! Everybody loves their nachos!
Lieutenant Akane, the protagonist from the previous film, also appears. However, she is sadly reduced to being a cameo, replaced with this guy, who has as much personality as Plank from Ed, Edd n Eddy.
I'm never bored when I'm with you. We're pals, we're buddies through and through. Wish I knew what to buy for you on your birthday.
The special effects are once again on point. However, I do find the rest of the film lacking.
Yes, you do, don't you?
I do.
Because
Yes,
you've
I
seen
do.
them all.
I've seen them all.
The first half of the film is just a lot of back and forth about whether Japan should return the Godzilla bones, and the final half is just pure kaiju carnage.
Bones? Wait, did you just say bones?
While the second half sounds like it should be amazing, it ends up feeling like a rehash of previous battles. We've got a Mothra and Godzilla fight, which we've seen in All Out Attack, and then there's a Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla battle, which we saw in the previous film.
Ah, but there's a twist. They actually reused the same footage for the Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla battle.
Surprisingly, they didn't reuse any footage.
What?
Even though you think they would. It's not terrible, but it doesn't have enough new ideas to make it worthwhile. But if you can't get enough of Godzilla, then
Play baseball with your mates and scribble nuts.
Godzilla Final Wars 2004. The final film in the Millennium era coincided with the 50th anniversary of the series. As a result, Final Wars was designed to be an absolute love letter to the series, packed full of cameos and references from previous films.
This time, Ryuhei Kitamura was the director, who we've previously mentioned in our History of Metal Gear video. Remember? His over-the-top style was on full display here, not only in the kinetic editing, but also in the ridiculous, Matrix-esque fight scenes, which saw the characters doing crazy kung fu stunts. Ah, hoo-ha!
Stunts? Well, what is stunts? What's kung fu stunts?
I said it wrong. I meant to say stunts.
Kitamura was a huge fan of the Godzilla films from the 1960s and 70s, being unsatisfied with the newer installments that came out during the 80s to the early noughties. This meant a return of the alien invasion plot, with invaders from Planet X sending an army of kaiju to destroy the Earth.
Well, why would Marvin the Martian do that?
I told you for the last time, it is not Marvin the Martian.
It is up to humanity to unleash Godzilla in order to stop the monsters and save the Earth. This leads to a sequence where Godzilla battles nearly every monster that has appeared during the Showa era, one after the other.
This also includes the 1998 American Godzilla, rendered in piss-poor CGI that would make food fight green with envy.
He's dynamic. Oh boy. He's dramatic. He's the big dog.
Dex Detective is back in the house.
That always runs to the rescue.
I still got it.
Final Wars is a film that is massively divisive within the Godzilla fan community. Some fans absolutely love it, while others think it is awful and disrespectful to the series' legacy. I sit somewhere in the middle. While I think it is good fun, I do think it's about 30 minutes too long, with a lot of attention being put on the Matrix-style fight scenes. It takes about an hour for Godzilla to show up after the film's opening, although when he does appear, he delivers the goods. Godzilla has never been more badass, and his new look is like a modern version of his Showa-era design, although I still prefer his spiky design from the earlier Millennium films. Whether this film is worth watching totally depends on how you felt with previous entries. If you've enjoyed all the Godzilla films up to this point, then yeah, give it a watch. Otherwise,
Your toenails need to be clipped, or they can get fungus.
With the release of the Godzilla Final Wars, Toho finally said,
"Right, that's enough,"
and decided to put this series on a 10-year hiatus. That's right, no Godzilla films for 10 years. However, in 2009, rumors began to circulate that American studio Legendary were chatting with Toho to produce a new American Godzilla film. These rumors turned out to be true, when a year later, Legendary and Warner Brothers announced they would be rebooting Godzilla, which leads us to
Godzilla
2014.
British filmmaker Gareth Edwards, whose only previous credit was the independent feature film Monsters, was chosen as director, being given the keys to one of the most important film franchises of all time. I'm so jealous of this man. The filmmakers knew that they needed to nail this take of Godzilla after the divisive TriStar version, and a lot of thought was put into what Godzilla would represent in our contemporary world.
So they sat there behind the scenes and they were like,
"We'll start all over again. All over again."
They decided to make Godzilla a representation of the wrath of nature, with the theme of man versus nature being the central focus.
Godzilla was also given a new design that was more faithful to the Toho version, being fully realized in 100% CGI. Edwards was also inspired by classic monster movies from Steven Spielberg, in which the monster's appearance is teased and not fully revealed till much later in the film. In Godzilla's case, he doesn't get his close-up till an hour in.
The film featured a stacked cast of recognizable Hollywood talent, with Bryan Cranston being the highlight. What's he in again?
Oh, Malcolm in the Middle, Hal!
His casting was deliberate, as he actually featured in the original Power Rangers series.
Of course.
We brought the sword.
Who are you talking to right now? Who is it you think you see? Do you know how much I make a year? I mean, even if I told you, you wouldn't believe it.
Now, wait a minute. What's Power Rangers got to do with Godzilla?
Well, they are both tokusatsu productions.
What?
This American Godzilla is definitely a big improvement from the 1998 version, feeling more faithful and respectful to the Japanese films. However, that doesn't mean the film is sin-free. In fact, you've seen this, other guy, Honest Review, so you can also join in with the criticisms.
Yes.
The first issue...
Oh, wait, you go first. You go first. You go first.
The first issue.
Okay.
Do you want to go? Okay.
I thought you were talking to me to go
No,
first.
you can do it.
Okay, I'll go first.
Fine.
Actually, I feel bad. You go first.
Okay, fine, I'll go first. Okay. The first issue is that the film makes the big mistake of killing off the most interesting character in the first act.
Whoa, stop. That's spoilers.
Bryan Cranston delivers a terrific performance, and his tragic backstory and pursuit for the truth keeps you invested, but then once he's dead, we're stuck with Dollars Dishwater, Aaron Taylor Johnson, who has as much charisma as, well, you know, Plank from Ed, Edd n Eddy.
The other issue is that the film doesn't quite deliver on the kaiju action, which it does a good job setting up.
Yeah, like there's that great scene in the film, you know, when the Muto kids and attacks the train and Taylor Johnson's on it, and the train's all like,
Stop. I actually haven't seen this movie. For some odd reason, I thought this was the Godzilla film where, you know, it's in handheld, just camera view. That guy's party and they're running and
That's Cloverfield.
Despite the quibbles, I do think this is a solid film. Although, how much you enjoy it depends on what you want from a Godzilla film.
You wanted more Cranston, I wanted more kaiju. Put them together, you get Brian Kaiju.
Wait, what?
The film's positive reviews and box office success prove that audiences were frothing at the mouth for more Godzilla. And Warner Brothers and Legendary were going to deliver the goods by creating a shared monsterverse, which would see Godzilla go toe-to-toe with King Kong. But before then, we're running back to Japan.
Run! Other guy, come on!
I can't keep up.
Shin Godzilla 2016. After the release of the 2014 American Godzilla,
wait, who's saying this?
Toho were like, we can do better, and got to work on a domestic Godzilla film. The film was directed by Hideaki Anno and Shinji Higuchi, kickstarting the Reiwa era of the Godzilla films in Japan. The Reiwa era refers to the beginning of Emperor Narihito's reign, beginning on the 1st of May 2019. Hey, wait a minute. Shin Godzilla came out in 2016, so actually, Shin Godzilla is part of the Millennium era, but it's actually part of the Heisei era, but it's classified as a Reiwa era film?
My brain hurts.
Shin Godzilla took the title Monster back to its roots, becoming an unstoppable force that attacks Japan, leaving the government completely helpless. It's up to Higuchi and his team of researchers to figure out what makes Godzilla tick and find his weakness. This was the first time in Japan that Godzilla was rendered in 100% CGI.
But they did use motion capture.
He may look a bit stiff, but there's no denying this is the most terrifying Godzilla we've ever seen.
The filmmakers drew inspiration from the Tohoku earthquake and tsunami, and the Fukushima nuclear disaster which occurred in 2011. The tsunami killed almost 20,000 civilians, while the nuclear disaster led to thousands of residents being evacuated from their homes. The film is also a satire on Japanese politics, poking fun at the inability of the Japanese government to respond quickly and decisively
in the face of the emergency crisis.
Yes, in the face of an emergency crisis.
Exactly. That's what I said.
Shin Godzilla is the closest a Godzilla film has got to capturing the feeling of tragedy and catharsis that made the original so powerful. However, unlike the original, which ended on a somber note, Shin Godzilla ends on a more hopeful one. If Japan can overcome their prehistoric government bureaucracy and change the way they govern their people, then maybe they have a chance to becoming a more powerful country. Does this make Shin Godzilla a piece of propaganda?
Well, I guess so.
Upon release, critics generally agreed that it was superior to the 2014 American version. It became the highest-grossing live-action Japanese film of 2016 and won numerous awards.
It's my favorite Godzilla film, perfectly updating the character for a modern audience.
Look at that. Look at how you said that. You went, my.
Well, it is my. I can't speak.
Look, everybody. He says it with so much passion.
I can't. I can't speak for you, can I?
Hold on, I got a question. But doesn't Godzilla get like 10 minutes of screen time?
Well, he gets a bit more than that. But that's okay, because this is a Godzilla invasion movie, so the real drama is in the human politics.
But doesn't Godzilla do politics in this movie?
He doesn't do no.
But if I go back in the script here, let me have a look. It says here, he means business.
No, but not... The way I see it is, if it's a Godzilla versus movie, then yes, I want decent kaiju action, and I want some decent Godzilla screen time. But if it's a Godzilla invasion movie, I don't mind if we got a little human drama, if the human drama is good. And Shin Godzilla, the human drama is good. So...
I met a dinosaur once. His name was Dippy.
Godzilla, Planet of the Monsters, City on the Edge of Battle, and the Planet Masketeers. 2017 and 2018. Masketeers?
Sorry, I meant Planeteers.
What is this, Captain Planet?
After the release of 2 big movies, you think Godzilla would be given some time off to do karaoke with his kids. But no, that wasn't going to happen, as now everyone wanted a piece of Godzilla, including Netflix. Directed by Kaban Shizuno and Hiroyuki Shishita. This was a computer-animated sci-fi trilogy. Set in the future, it follows a group of humans who have lost Earth to Godzilla, and now live in space on board a grim spaceship.
It sounds kind of boring.
With supplies running short, whippersnapper Captain Haru convinces the crew to return to Earth to reclaim their planet from Godzilla. What unfolds is a series of fairly generic battles against the title monster, who has been re-envisioned as a literal god of the Earth.
It sounds kind of boring.
The filmmakers were given a total creative freedom for their take on Godzilla, which explains why the story is such a departure from previous iterations. There are some neat ideas on display, but sadly the story gets bogged down in the techno battle, and characters so wafer thin, they would give Barry the Biscuit Boy a run for his money.
A lake of purest, craven dale, 'twas creamy, fresh and cool and pale. Though mama warned, don't swim too long. He dips and dunks, what could go wrong?
There's no denying that the filmmakers understand Godzilla, presenting some interesting decisions about our relationship with the Big G.
Discussions.
That's what I said.
You said decisions.
He is the inevitable conclusion of humanity's desire for progress, at the expense of the natural world.
It's just a shame it's all so boring. It feels like they stripped this film of all personality, with even Godzilla being reduced to just standing there and firing his atomic breath on occasion. If you think the appearance of Ghidorah in the third film is going to shake things up, you'll be sadly mistaken. The way I see it is, if you want your Godzilla fix, watch another Godzilla film. And if you want your anime fix, watch another anime.
Like?
Full Metal Alchemist?
Full Metal Alchemist?
Whatever you do, though, don't watch this trilogy.
Watch it with your heart content.
I'm not saying that. You've been such an unreliable rating system.
Godzilla, King of the Monsters, 2019. Why do we say it like that? A sequel to the 2014 Godzilla. The film sees a group of terrorists awaken a group of ancient monsters known as the Titans, who they use to cleanse the Earth of humanity's pollution and environmental destruction. Are these the same Titans from Hercules?
No. Things get out of hand when King Ghidorah, in his American debut...
Wait, I think I've seen this one. Is this the one with that John Goodman goes nuts in the cabin?
No, that's 10 Cloverfield Lane.
What?
Things get out of hand when King Ghidorah, in his American debut, takes control of the Titans, causing humanity to rely on Godzilla to take down Ghidorah and take his rightful place as the King of the Monsters. The film also saw the American introduction of Mothra and Rodan, who throw down in the film's climax.
Where Gareth Edwards was meant to return to direct, he passed on the project, and horror director Michael Dougherty was brought on instead. Instead of the slow build approach of the previous films, Dougherty went on for all-action approach, where the title monster shows up right at the start.
A revelation that caused fans to spit out their cranberry juice. King of the Monsters is very much a film designed for the Godzilla fan who felt alienated by the Edwards film, full of classic monsters and references to previous Japanese entries. However, the problem with this is that the film ends up being a hodgepodge of ideas from older films, meaning it doesn't feel completely original. The film's climax is reminiscent of the ending from the Heisei era Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, except with the monsters replaced, and the whole Godzilla going nuclear is straight from Godzilla vs. Destroyer. The film received mostly negative reviews upon release and was a box office disappointment.
No.
Despite my quibbles, I still think it's a decent installment. The kaiju action is an improvement from the previous one, although the filmmakers still seem obsessed with panning the camera away every time the monsters clash to focus on some humans shouting or looking distressed.
I remember the trailer when I was watching Avengers Endgame in the IMAX. It was shaking my chair.
The human drama is serviceable, and the film moves at a decent pace, so you won't be bored to tears.
Fantastic masterpiece.
Godzilla vs. Kong 2021. Between the release of Godzilla 2014 and Godzilla King of the Monsters 2019, Warner Brothers and Legendary released Kong Skull Island in 2017, which saw the introduction of King Kong into the Monsterverse. This was done so we could get to this. Godzilla vs. Kong, an encounter that hasn't been seen since 1962. Ow! Why are you biting me?
Directed by Adam Wingard, the film has a plot involving a group of humans and Kong going on a quest to retrieve a mysterious weapon that could stop Godzilla, who has recently been going crazy and attacking facilities belonging to Apex Cybernetics.
The plot is simply window dressing for the bits we actually care about. Godzilla and Kong going toe-to-toe. Excluding Pacific Rim, so you can stand over there, This is the first time an American studio has truly delivered on the kaiju action. It's so good, it made Christopher Walken wanna dance.
Tonally, this is also the closest an American studio has gotten to capturing the spirit of the Japanese Godzilla films, with a plot that is ridiculous, cheesy, but sincere. The film was planned to be released in 2020, but was delayed to 2021 due to COVID-19.
It ended up being the first film I saw on the big screen after the lockdown, and it was just the kind of film I needed. Big, loud, and fun. It seemed to be a shared feeling as most critics were generally positive, and the film was a box office success. In my opinion, this is the best American Godzilla, and definitely worth a watch. Just thinking about it's making me choke up.
Must watch.
Hey! About f***ing time. Godzilla has been around for decades, and in only 2 years, Godzilla will be celebrating his 70th anniversary.
70? Most recently, Godzilla has also appeared in the anime series Godzilla Singular Point. However, numerous other projects are also in the works.
This includes a sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong, a live-action MonsterVerse series for Apple TV+, and a Toho World of Godzilla cinematic universe, where Toho intends to release new films based on their existing library of kaiju.
You know what we forgot to mention? Gex! Gex had a whole homage to Godzilla with the boss battle with Gex versus Mecha Rez.
But honest review, everyone's made homages to Godzilla.
You know, Dexter, I think you're over the top with this Godzilla stuff. I don't see the big love and everything about this. I think it's ridiculous. Men in suits fighting each other, a giant lizard.
You make me sick. The sad truth is that people like the other guy will never appreciate the charm and appeal that Godzilla has brought to millions and millions of people around the world. Regardless, the future sounds exciting, and I look forward to seeing where the big G goes next. Until then, thanks for watching, and keep watching the skies.
Oh, Dexter, what's that giant light bulb coming down?
It's Maximum!
I just want to say that I apologize for any mispronunciation.